Everything he said and did was done from our own awakening and to support us during crucifixion and in our own resurrections. It is said, it is the darkest before the dawn. It can be the darkest time in our experience because of the powerful work done thus far in laying a foundation of forgiveness. It is because you have done such important work to get to this point that right in the middle of the journey, you may hit a wall of despair. Whether you feel despair or not, this fourth living word, truth, is the gift that says, now it's time for a deep and final cleansing of the consciousness, and you are ready. As difficult as it may seem, this point in the journey is to be embraced and even celebrated. It is a sure sign that you are doing the work and wonderful work. If you are feeling fear and abandoned, it is of utmost importance that you do not call these feelings wrong. They are to be moved through the preserva- presidents, preservations, and faith in all that is good, God. And now, Reverend Mark will lead us in meditation.
So we say together, there is a silence into which the world cannot intrude. There is an ancient peace I carry in my heart and have not lost. There is a sense of holiness in the thought in me, of fear can never touched. I go there now. So let us go there now. Once again, closing your eyes, taking your attention off of the external world, the effect. And by the power of your breath, slowing your breathing down, breathing more deeply, imagining pulling your awareness into the center of the body, below the rib cage. And imagine that you can go even deeper so that the inward journey begins to look and feel like space. deeper and deeper within. Deep within, there is a peace. There is a knowing of your divinity. There's that part of you that has never forgotten that you are loved and cared for. It is this place we seek to find in our meditation today. Deep within you is the light and the love of the Christ. But it's not a spark within you. It is literally what you are. You are this light. So as you float even more deeply within, imagine that a light begins to grow brighter and brighter. You can just merge into this light, remembering, I am the love of God. This is all I am. This is all I will be. Let us commune together for a few minutes in this silence. It's almost like the coffee knows when we're meditating. Take another deep breath. Welcome the dawning of spring within yourself. The spring that brings hope. The spring that brings renewal. The spring that helps you remember that all is well. Breathe that one, we breathe in and we bring that wonderful energy back with us into the room. This completes our meditation. Open your eyes whenever you're ready as we welcome back Brian.
You try your best, but you don't succeed. Get what you want, but not what you need. When you feel so tired, you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse. Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. When the tears come streaming down your face, when you lose something you can't replace, when you love someone but it goes to waste, Could it be worse? Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. Tears stream down your face when you lose something you cannot replace. Tears stream down your face, and tears stream down your face. I promise you I will learn from my mistakes. Tears stream down your face, and lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.
Thank you, Brian. That's by a group called Coldplay. If anyone knows that group, they're really good. So one of the things we say, let me back up. No, let me stay there. I'm arguing with myself, not you. Um, there's only one presence and one power as me and as the universe, God the good, omnipotent. We say that every week. We affirm that. The challenge of that is there gets a point where we say it like there is one power, one presence in the universe, blah, 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 blah. And we begin to lose our connection and the purpose of that, which is not just to become a yeah, 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 but to go deeper and deeper into um, truth, into inquiry, into challenge. To use a statement like this, to declare this, is a very profound thing to do. There are many, many churches around the world this very moment, this very day, that are pointing to that power outside of themselves. They're making it something distant that you have to earn approval from. But we here at Unity are saying, no, no, we're not playing that game. We're saying that this one power and presence that is whose nature is good is in me and as me. It's what I am. Now, that creates an immediate challenge to the ego, because the ego is always saying, no, you're not that. You know what you do. You know what you think. You know what goes on inside of you. So it feels like the ego's laughing at this statement. But we've got to practice standing in the truth of that statement. And from there, having the courage to look at the voice of the ego and bring it to the light. The common, very, very common, and I think common problem within society is, I want to get this clear. We believe the voice of the ego about ourselves, and then the next move from there is to hide, is to say the words that we all are trained to say. Oh, I'm good. It's all good. I'm fine. It's fine. And these are absolute truths, but they're not your experience. And this is where the disconnect happens. We begin speaking words not for the purpose of affirmation and knowing, but for the purpose of hiding. We pretend. We don't center ourselves in the truth. I say, because there's only God and it is good and it is light, that you can bring everything to it. You don't need to hide a single thing. If you feel like being bratty and bitchy today, bring it to the light. But don't pretend that that's not you, or that's not your temporary experience. Don't pretend that you're not feeling afraid or uncertain, because this is what keeps the discomfort in place. Our pretending is what keeps us stuck. Now, I say don't do that in a culture where everyone's doing that. This is the agreed way of being together. Don't really tell your truth. In fact, don't even get full access to it yourself. The moment discomfort comes, grab a bag of chips, grab some chocolate, get on Netflix, do something that can keep you circling this. You guys remember the Rocky movie? Well, there's four, but the first Rocky movie, there's this scene where, I don't know, it's later in the movie, but Rocky and Adrian are on the beach and they're arguing and they're yelling. And she's really coming at him. She's like, "What's the truth? What's the truth?" And he's hemming and he's hawing, he's bouncing around. And she's like, "We have everything but the truth. We have everything but the truth." Or she would not leave him alone until finally at the breaking point, he says, "I'm afraid." And she goes, "That's the truth." And the movie has that moment where it goes, ah. And you can feel it. You literally can feel the tension they built in the movie and the relief that came. Not what to do about it, but just to acknowledge it. This is the step, because what the ego does, it says, well, if the truth is I'm afraid, well, then I've got to move and do this. And it starts to jump you 2 and 3 steps ahead of the experience because it wants out. But I believe the wisdom and the growth that we're on is to take one step at a time and then let that lead us to what's next. Have you ever found yourself in some kind of an upset, like Rocky and Adrian on the beach? And you're going at each other, but you're not getting anywhere. You're just doing this. It's because you're probably, or you might be, circling the truth. We're afraid to say something that's real, feeling real in the center of it. But it's the opposite. When we say what's in the center of it, we begin to be able to move forward. Now, we've been studying the 7 last words that Jesus says on the cross. And by the way, I don't have a lot of faith that these are what he said. I don't think there were reporters at the base of the cross going, "What did he say? What did he say?" and taking notes. But I do think the story holds wisdom and inspiration inside of it. So our first word along the journey was to forgiveness. We were called, when we begin any time of change, awakening, releasing, letting go of an idea of who you are so you can become more of who you are. The first step is we forgive. We forgive ourselves, we forgive everybody else for making up the story. And then we move to the next one, which was the idea of being in the now moment. And then last week, we looked at oneness. These are things that we embrace as spiritual principles along our way to support us on our journey. It is in the now moment where transformation begins, not the past or the future. And it is in oneness with all of life where you feel the connection and the courage to move forward. And then right smack in the middle of these 7 words is this. The last word that Jesus spoke, as was read by Diana, is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And it's like right in the middle of the tunnel. Like, if here's the beginning of the journey and here's the light that leads you to a new expression of self, your resurrection, we're right smack dab in the middle. And you can imagine in your own life, but just creating a visual, if there's a tunnel and you're right in the middle of it, that is the darkest place. It's the place where you can feel a little lost, a little frozen. It's the place where a lot of people go, the past wasn't so bad. You know, I can go back to having a couple drinks, whatever it is, whatever that thing that we felt the inspiration to let go of and be transformed from. As we get further away, and relationships do this to us also, don't they? Where it's like it's got a sweet seduction. We feel pulled to not grow. It's that moment where I believe a lot of people do go back. And by the way, there's nothing wrong if you go back 100 times, whatever. You're going to make it. It's just time you get to save when you build your spiritual faith. And so that which allows us to keep going in the direction of the calling of the resurrection is that moment where we say what is true. And to me, that's what Jesus is doing in this story. He's saying, I feel forsaken. Right in the middle, he's like, this doesn't feel cool. This isn't what I signed up for. And that's a real outbreath. And we deserve that outbreath, not as our identity, not as a permanent state of being, as a step along the path that helps us move forward. This is the point. If you have the courage to say what is true inside of you, you can move forward. I remember, I think it might have been with Patrick or my sister or someone I was talking to, and we're in some situation, and I remember being asked, why did you do that? Or why did you say that? So anyone ever said that to you? Why did you say that? And I breathed in, and I had this awareness, and I just said, because I wanted to be mean. That was the truth. That would, like, when I really got to, it was kind of surprising to me. Of course, we're all like, really? You're surprised? But yeah, we really decorated quite well. But right in the center of us, why would I say something like that? Because in that moment, I forgot who I am, I forgot who you are, and I just wanted to be mean. That is I remember that moment because it had a breath of freedom inside of it. When you just simply own it, it begins to change. But it does take courage. It takes courage again because the world says don't do that. And I believe the shadow, spiritual bypassing in a place like Unity or other New Thought communities, is we're so dedicated to the truth of positivity. We're so dedicated that it makes us want to hide even more. This is what I don't want for myself or for you. That because we say this statement, there's only one presence and one power as me, and as the universe, God the good, omnipotent, we make that mean that we can't be authentic. And we've got to make it mean the opposite. It means we must be authentic. It means whatever's here is welcome. It means we don't need to hide a single thing because we know the truth of who we are. So bring everything else to the light. I wish I brought this poem with me. I'm just thinking of it now. I use it often. Perhaps some of you know it. It's called The Guest House by Rumi. And it's really, really just a phenomenal little poem where Rumi talks about whatever comes to the door, be it a sadness, be it a joy, be it a sweeping storm of sorrows, be it rage, be it whatever it is, welcome it in and give it a seat at the fire. Let it sit with you at the fire because it brings a gift. Isn't that fascinating? Again, not how we're trained, but more and more down this path, I go, I think the spiritual path is simply a path of unraveling our training. That's really what it's about. And then we just land in the center of authenticity. So this is another way to say it. Whatever is here, notice your resistance to it being here, because your resistance to it is your judgment, is your fear about it, is whatever you're making up about it. And that's what makes it harder. That's what makes it harder. I remember when years ago, I was like 20, well, not that long ago, I was 27. What am I saying, years ago? It's so funny. I was like 27, 28. And When I was 25, I got my call to ministry. Like it was undeniable. And it just changed my whole life. It's been my whole path since 25 years old. And I started going to Unity Village to get my licensed Unity teacher certification so I could then go into ministerial school. And truly, the mountains moved, the way was made clear, resources flowed. It was such a green light. It was effortless to study, and my work lined up with it. Everything was perfect. I completed my licensed Unity teacher training program, and I immediately filled out my application to go to ministerial school. I was all excited about it. And I remember it's so clear. It's like in November when I turned it in, and come January, you get the letter of going and doing your interviews. So my letter arrives, I'm all excited, I open it, and I'm not accepted into the program, which was honestly shocking to me because I was a really good student. I loved it. It didn't make sense to me, but they thought I was too young, which makes sense today. But when you're 27, you think you know everything, right? It was hard. I truly felt betrayed. It didn't make sense to me. The calling was as clear as could be. And I followed it, and everything lined up. Green light, green light, green light, green light, green light, the whole way until the final stop. And then it's a red light. It was upsetting, it was confusing. I was mad, I was sad, I was all of it. And eventually, as we all do, begin moving forward. And sometimes those things can really give you the permission to go bold. And it was one of those times because I was like, well, I thought I was moving to Kansas City. I'd been packing up my life. I mean, I was in my head. And I was like, I'm just going to go to LA. I'm just going to go live in California. And people say, why are you going to California? Because I dreamed of doing it when I was a kid. That's all I had. And I had that, this didn't happen, so just go for something. I went out to California, and my whole world opened up. I discovered agape. I discovered Michael Beckwith. I discovered a whole new path of study that I embarked upon for 5 more years. And when I graduated the ministerial program, and I did become a minister 5 years later, and I looked back, I felt like the most blessed guy on the planet. Because had I just gotten a slice, it would have been fine. It would have been what it was. But it's like the life itself said, no, you're not going to get a slice. You're going to get the whole pie here. You're going to keep studying. You're going to keep learning this for 5 more years in different ways. And I'm so grateful for that redirection. But in the moment, it felt like betrayal. So, and I think we know this too in our own lives. All of us can find something where we felt like we were clear, life came in and said, nope. And it was hard, it felt hard, but it also opened up something we couldn't see. This is where we are in our journey. This is where we are in our tunnel of transformation. We're right in the middle where the old way of being is not us anymore, and the new way of being is unknown, and we've got to take this moment to feel, to speak the truth, to just let what's here be here. And we need people around us. We need each other to do this, and we've got to train each other. You got to say to someone, I'm going to tell you what's going on, and I don't want your opinion about it, and I don't want you to fix me. Just be here. Just listen. I'm talking to the men in the room. Just be, I should say, the masculine energy in the room. Just be here. Just let what is here be here. That's what this word says. Let what is here be here. And we're really going to walk this path, and it says, judge not. You don't judge any feeling. It is only the human experience that says, this feeling is bad, this feeling is good. What if you had no judgment on any feeling? And they just were. There is no good or bad. There just is what's here. That would be a more enlightened society, wouldn't it? to be a place where when someone says, I am filled with rage right now, the other person goes, awesome, thanks for sharing that. I'm going to back up a little bit, but I'm glad to support you in that experience. And this is why we haven't got there yet, is because I know you, like me, experienced feelings as a child, and they were dangerous. They weren't used. Anger wasn't used in my household to free them into their spiritual awakening. It was used for punishment. It was used to make someone feel bad or guilty or ashamed. And so my upbringing was modeling that there were these feelings that I was not going to have. And then this calling is bring them all. Bring them all here. Take a breath on this. Breathe this in. And then with your eyes closed for a moment, placing your attention in the center of your heart, imagine that you can just pull with the energy of your heart all the parts that you have disowned, all the feelings that you never expressed throughout your life, be it a tiny little one, be it a big unresolved grief. Just let your heart welcome into it all fragmented parts. Breathe it in, pull it, pull it, pull it. Imagining the doors of the heart opening, and there's a beautiful hearth in there, and there's everything, every part of you. Welcome home. You are welcome here. The part that feels betrayed, come into the room. The part that feels so mad, come into the room. The part that is pretending to be spiritual when inside you feel lost, welcome into the room. And imagine in your heart, it's a big round table with a bunch of presents and light beings around the table, all aspects of yourself, all parts that you've been using your energy to control, to manage, to fix. Take a breath, because you don't need to do any of that. Come to the heart, come home, come sit at the table. Take your rightful place. All of me is welcome here, because all of me is the light that looks upon it and is not seduced. And now let's take this further as we welcome all feelings, all experiences, the deepest truths, known and unknown, to the table. Imagine that light begins to pass from being to being around the table and swirling so that it all becomes one light, swirling around. And the table itself disappears, and the light that we meditated upon returns to our heart. One light, one power. And because it is good, I no longer judge anything. Make this declaration. I welcome the betrayed part. I welcome the sad part. I welcome the fearful part into the light. Breathe in. Opening your eyes. The Course says, for a time, you may attempt to bring illusions into the holy instant to hinder your full awareness of the complete difference in all respects between your experience of truth and illusion. See, the betrayed part, this is where it gets a little tricky, but let's go one level deeper. The betrayed part is not the truth. That is the illusion. But the way that the illusion is transformed is through forgiveness, through bringing it to the light. Because it's not true, it doesn't have power here. The parts of you that are stuck in the sadness of the past, the parts of you that have stories made up about you and other people, that is the illusion. And when we say yes to resurrecting in the light of God, all of those illusions have to ultimately disappear, but not of your doing, not of your control, because you don't know the difference. This is the Course tells us we don't know the difference between truth and illusion yet. You don't have the full pervasive, but what you do know is you can offer it up to the Holy Spirit, to the light, whatever name you use, over and over, quickly. If something's here, I give this to union. That's from A Course of Love, another amazing book. She says, whatever thought you're having, dedicate it to union. The ego's thought is about separation and division and making you feel outside. Union brings you home. I dedicate this thought to union. I dedicate this fear to union. I dedicate this sadness to union. I dedicate what has heretofore made me feel separate to being unified within me. And from there, what's next? What's possible? It's exciting. You don't know what is held in your resurrection, but faith is pulling us as we're now in the middle of the tunnel, turning our full direction towards the resurrection, which is where we're going now, non-negotiable, no going back, no backslide. Well, you can backslide a little bit, but come back next week. I'll get you keep going that way. Now that we're turned to this direction, you're going to start to feel on the next steps, we're going to feel the hope. You're going to say something's going to come alive. You're going to come alive because you're rising up and expanding. This is the journey, and I think it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal journey of Easter that we're on. So take a breath again. Let's do a prayer. Grateful for the opportunity to pause in our journeys, to lay down trying to be anything other than what is here, and to lay down judging anything that is here. And to remember, as we do say, I am the light of God. I am that. And because I am that, all is welcome here. Because I am that, I have no need to pretend. Because I am that, I don't name any feelings as bad or wrong. I practice welcoming them, letting them move, letting them process, and letting them bring me the gift that is within it. This is a brand new way of being. And we ask the Holy Spirit to plant this seed deeply within us and to help it grow as our true nature and way of looking at the world. No matter how many people in the world don't play the game of truth, we play the game of truth for ourselves. We play the game of truth for them. And we trust that all we need to do is take the next step. We are guided. We are deeply loved. We are not the illusion. We are not the fear, so welcome here. We are the light that transforms all. But we must be honest and we must give it over. And so this is what we do in this moment. We give it all. We give it all with no judgment. We give it all with no pretending, no hiding. Holy Spirit, I give myself to thee, all of me. Breathe in. And this is done. This is done. And so it is. Amen. All right. So now is your opportunity to share your gift with unity as we invite ushers and greeters to grab the baskets. Thank you, Jim and Millie, for doing that. We can say our affirmation together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am thankful. And we are so thankful for your gifts. We truly are. We are so thankful for you. And thank you for those who are live streaming for your gifts. We invite Diana back up to share because there are a couple other ways you can practice your giving here.
Patrick's working on it. There we go. As always, Reverend Mark, your messages are, for me, always right on and a perfect timing. So thank you very much for that. Very powerful. Yes, as Reverend Mark mentioned, there are other ways to give. It's also through texting. So the text number that you will use is 616-236-5205. That number is 616-236-5205. And if it is the first time that you're giving in that way, it'll give you instructions. You walk through it. and it'll get everything set up. And then after that is just simply texting the dollar amount and then to that number. You can also give through our website at unitylakeshore.org/donations. And you can also see that link in the chat for the online people. You can also mail a check to Unity on the Lakeshore P.O. Box 848, Douglas, Michigan 49406. And at this time, we have another song by Brian.
Grateful I am grateful, I am grateful. Grateful I am grateful, I am grateful. My gift to you is gratitude. Oh, yes, I'm grateful. Oh, 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 yes, I'm grateful. Grateful I am grateful, I am grateful. Grateful I am grateful, I am grateful. My gift to you is gratitude. Oh, yes, I'm grateful. Oh, yes, I'm grateful. Grateful, grateful. Yes, I'm grateful. Oh, yes, I'm grateful.
Thank you, Brian. I love that song. I sing it or hum it at least 3 or 4 times throughout the day. To Luann, to your point, yes, let's give him a round of applause. Love it, love it. Okay, if you're in need of any kind of support, there are several ways that you can do this. First, you can email us at unitylakeshore@gmail.com, or you can call our office at 269-857-8226. And there's always the Unity silent prayer line that's 24/7, and that number is 816-969-2000. And also, we're having a potluck, so hopefully everyone can join us and enjoy the delicious dishes that everyone brought. And so after service, what we're going to do is break down the chairs, set up the tables, and the food is already almost in place. So please welcome us today and join us. And also, Reverend Mark is leading a meditation and book study, A Course in Miracles, on Wednesday evenings. It begins with an overview and introduction to the course at 6:30 p.m. to 6:45, and then the study of the book is for an hour, and that will be until 7:45 p.m. If you haven't liked us on Facebook, please do so. That way you can share and learn about all the great things that are happening here at Unity, and you can find us at Facebook.com/Unity Lakeshore. Is there anybody here for the first time? Yes, Tammy. I was looking out there thinking, oh, I can't believe it. It's Tammy. It took me a while to figure that out. But yes, we're delighted you're here and thank you for joining us. And we have another guest as well. So we'll look forward to chatting with you after the service. All righty. Is there any other announcements from the floor? Okay, I see none. And if you do have any suggestions and you would like to offer them either to the board or Reverend Mark, there is a suggestion box that you can write either a message or something you would like them to talk about. Feel free to do that, please. Yes.
I like the contemporary songs you're singing. Do you take requests at all? Yeah, as much as I could do it. I'm thinking Joan Osborne, what if God is one of us? Yeah, let's
Good.
talk afterward.
For those that are online, somebody asked Brian if he took requests for songs, and so that was great. We love your feedback, so always make those offers. Okay. At this time, we're going to sing our peace song. Let's all stand.
peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us wherever God is, and all is well. Thank you. Thank you. Please stay for the potluck. Enjoy. Good work.